I went back into who I am. And what that means is I looked at what are all those things that I said I'd do that I'd never done. What are all those things that I had promised myself that I'd pursue that I never pursued. Oh my gosh, another podcast that you have to listen to. Welcome to OMG, another podcast. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Mukami Maura, and I'm so excited to actually start a podcast. And yes, the name of the podcast is OMG, another podcast. Why the name of this podcast? I mean, it's both a truth and a joke. And when I was thinking about podcast names, I was thinking to myself, like, oh, geez, is that running joke, especially on social media, that everyone is starting a podcast? And so when I was thinking about what to name mine, I was like, I won't be too deep about it. So it's OMG, another podcast. But it's been a long time coming. And I'm just so excited to finally start it. What this podcast is going to be about, very simple or not. It's going to be about big feelings, reflections, personal opinions as well. So it's think about a diary reflection style kind of podcast, sharing my own personal opinions, sharing my own thoughts, my own struggles, my own perspectives about, things and specific topics in life, but mostly for women like me, looking for a space to just have a conversation, looking for a space for authentic connection, looking for a place where we can just discuss things that are happening to us, within us, outside of us, internally, externally, and everything in between. And please, this is not like a self-help guru kind of podcast. I don't have answers. I'm not a therapist, but it's also just somewhere that you can be authentic. So how did this podcast begin? Let's start for as long as I can remember, because I've always loved, communications. My career actually, and also my education, has a background in communication. However, when I was seriously considering starting a podcast was around 2021, guys. Yeah. I said, guys, 2021. And in 2021, I was so full of gusto and hope and dreams. And I went out and I actually even started an Instagram page for the podcast. And then I have some amazing friends who helped me also put together the logo. So I was very sure that I was going to do this thing. I was going to start a podcast. And I didn't. And it's 4 years later, and this is when I'm talking to myself, to you. And I'm just wondering what took me so long. And it's just so many things that were going through my mind, so many things that obviously made me freeze up. And haven't we been through that all at some point? Some of the things that went through my mind was like, oh my gosh, what if this is cringe? What if people see this? What if people perceive me? Those were the kinds of questions that I was asking myself. And let's not even go into my insecurities, my own personal insecurities. What if I say the wrong thing and then I'm fried on social media and people are very unforgiving on the internet? For example, I struggled with acne for a lot of my teenage life, actually from my preteen times. Now it's when it gotten a bit better. And all these things just came to my mind. I was thinking, what gives you the right, for example, to have a voice? And so these are some of the things that were just, I was mulling over. I was wondering to myself if this is even something that I should start. So, just having a lot of insecurities, wondering if it's going to be cringe. But then I also got to a point in my life, I am in my early 30s and I'm navigating transitions. And, obviously when I started out, for example, my career, I was like, climbing up the corporate ladder, doing this and that, and I can say that I've been really fortunate enough to have like a full blossoming career. I feel like I have been in a place where I've been blessed to meet so many people, work with amazing brands, just because in terms of my line of work. And I feel like I'm in a place of transition. Then what? What is the next big step, or what do I need to be doing moving forward? And so when I was thinking to myself about that, is I went back into who I am. And what that means is I looked at what are all those things that I said I'd do that I'd never done? What are all those things that I had promised myself that I'd pursue that I'd never pursued? And what are all those things that I'd promised myself that I'd do that I'd never do? So basically, I stripped myself and literally, not literally, but, in my mind, I went back into my mind and I thought to myself, I owe it to myself to go back to basics, to rediscover myself. And so, for example, even with the start of this podcast, it's just for me to literally go inside and do something that is fun, do something that is for me, do something that brings me joy as I find what my purpose is. So, thank you so much for being here. I hope you can also be able to share with me your journeys, what you're thinking about. But there's something that happens to you, I feel, when you are in your early 30s. There's almost like a sort of grief. There's some dreams that will never be, will never come to life. There's things that you'll never do. There are things that, the places that you thought you'd be by now, but you're not. And this is a space where I want to talk about that. So this is almost like I am vocalizing my personal diary to you, but also just a place of sharing, authentic stories that are very personal to us. And so that's why I'm here. By the time I was recording this, yesterday I was on social media scrolling and I watched something from Laura Walubenga, the great creative genius, journalist, podcaster as well. Absolutely love her. And she was speaking about anticipation and anxiety. And I found that very interesting. And she was saying, and with everything that you want to do, anything that is significant or that makes sense, so anything that stirs up emotion, this is not exactly what she said. I'm just saying verbatim and paraphrasing what she said, and what I understood from it is anything that is scary will have both anticipation and anxiety. And it's our choice in terms of how we respond to it. So, for example, like with me, starting this podcast, or whatever dream that you have, how you look at it is what matters. So, with anticipation, she was saying that there's undertones of joy and excitement and expectation that something good will happen. Versus anxiety, whereby, you are so scared and all these what ifs, like, for example, what I was sharing with you happened before I thought about, starting this space and this podcast. And this is me just, stepping out of my comfort zone and stepping out and doing something and quieting those noise and going at it with anticipation instead of anxiety. And not to say that I'm not anxious, I am shaking. The team behind the cameras will tell you before we started, I was bubbling and I was wondering to myself, what am I doing? I want to cry and go home. And I still do want to cry and go home sometimes. But, this is a point where we show up for ourselves and we do things that are authentic to us and we challenge ourselves. So even at the point where I got myself here, like I mentioned, was a point of transition, just wondering what my purpose is, what next, when it comes to education, I feel like I've achieved most of the things that I wanted to do, another certificate, another degree. When it comes to my career, I feel like I'm not saying that I'm at the top and I'm at the pinnacle or like, I'm the best there is, but I feel like I've gotten to a place of how to define that in a way that makes my life fulfilling and has more meaning and purpose. And so, even just for you, I think it's something to think about truly, like what is holding yourself back. And most of the times we've heard people say that we're the ones who are holding ourselves back. Get yourself out of the way. You are your own hindrance. And I think that's also what I'm trying to learn. Like, I feel like I'm those people who are emotionally attuned. I believe I'm mentally sharp. And I'm not trying to like toot my own horn. But I think I also talk myself out of a lot of things that would bring me joy. Like even just when I was coming to this podcast, I was wondering and I was asking myself some of the other things that I was saying, like, what if I say something wrong? I can't take that back. The internet never forgets. But this is also a place of pure, what's the word? Pure just acceptance, knowing that I'm not perfect, knowing that I'm not an expert, willing to learn, that I may say something wrong and have specific views about a topic now. And then I learn later on that, I get another piece of information that I want to change the whole narrative. So that's what I'm saying. So basically, I just want to welcome you to my space. I just want to say, thank you so much for being here. Basically, what to expect is conversations like this that talk to who we are as human beings, and especially just women navigating life, career, ambition, purpose, friendships, love, everything in between. What's the wrong way to do it? What's the right way to do it? Is there a right way to do things? And so I'm hoping that even by me just putting this first episode out, it's an encouragement to myself, first things first. And it's also a pat to myself at the back, and just saying, like, finally, at least you did it. You said something that you do, and a promise that you made to yourself. And here you are doing it a step at a time, doing it scared, knees knocking, the whole 9 yards. And funny thing is, I've realized that even as I speak and I continue to speak, is that I'm more calm, I'm more centered, I'm more relaxed. And sometimes all you need to do is just take that first step onto this staircase. So, welcome to my podcast. My name is Mukami. I'm a sister, I'm a friend. I love God. I have a relationship with Him. And I'm hoping that this podcast would just be a place and a space for us to have raw, authentic conversations. So I can't believe I did it. I did it. The first episode is out. Oh, well, you'll be watching it. And thank you so much for being part of my space, coming along with me on this journey. And I just want to let you know that just remember, this is a place of authenticity, big feelings, not necessarily for you to be right or wrong, or even for me, for example, to be right or wrong, but just for us to share authentically what we're going through, what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, in a way that is safe for all of us. So next time, make sure that you have your journals. We're going to be talking a bit about that then. And thank you for being part of OMG, another podcast. It's not just another podcast, I'm in it. See you next time. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. And I can't wait to see you on the next one.